Old friend Levi Norwood. And I say that because I'm looking at 2014 Baylor grad, and Levi, I cannot believe it's been 9 years since you've been a student athlete at Baylor.
It's been such a long time.
It really has. Levi and I were actually neighbors back in the day. We lived on the same street. When my dog was young, I saw Levi all the time walking Woodrow down the street. Levi, you are involved. Before we talk Baylor football with you, which I'm very curious, your opinions on Dave Aranda and the staff. I actually think you and he would get along so famously if you were a player on this team because of how kind of unique your mind and creativity is. But you've got the Lift for Life coming up on July 25th. Tell us about that and how you got involved with it.
Yeah, so the Lift for Life is something that the football team does through Uplifting Athletes, which is a nonprofit that I work with. I work with college and professional athletes across the country to raise awareness for people impacted by rare diseases, and we fund rare disease research through college and professional sports. And so it's something that the chapter at Baylor I started when I was playing my senior year in honor of a family friend and a few others who are impacted by rare diseases themselves. And yeah, I've been doing it full time for the past 4 years, and awesome to work with college athletes and professional athletes and help them get back to a cause that's very important.
So this event, guys are going to bench press 225, and you can donate kind of however you really want to based on the number of bench presses they do or flat donation or whatever to help raise money for your cause, right?
Yep. So they'll actually be split up into their lifting groups, lifting teams, and they're doing a few different events. It won't just be bench press, but if you go to pledgeit.org/Baylor FB Lift 23, you can see what teams are which and what events they're doing, and you can make a pledge per win, I guess, that each team gets. That'll help us fund rare disease research.
So, Levi, is everybody across the team involved? How's it kind of broken up and determined in that way?
Yep. So they have their lifting, I guess, groups or teams that they've been in all off season, and that's how they're competing. And so everyone on the team will be wearing Lift for Life shirts that day, and hopefully spreading the word on social media, emailing their friends and family to get the word out to help raise some money with us.
So, Levi, I know you've been away for a little bit. Your thoughts on Dave Aranda and what he's got going with this Baylor football team, and he's a very unique guy. I know you've probably talked to him a little bit, being back, but your thoughts on where they are and where they're headed.
I think it's awesome where they're headed. Obviously, getting back to a point a couple of years ago that Baylor football hasn't been since, I guess, 2014, 2015. And so it's awesome to see that. And Coach Aranda actually was a GA for my dad at Texas Tech. And so there's a few guys on staff that are close with our family. And so it's been cool kind of getting to see Coach Aranda. I guess you telling me a story about how he took me and my younger siblings to a movie. My dad kind of put it on him and some of the other GAs. Like, if you want to be a father, this is a responsibility, and kind of, I don't know if it was a lesson my dad was trying to teach him or just trying to put the kids off on them. But Coach Rand was telling me about when I was probably 7 years old, took us to a movie theater.
Has your dad ever made the comment of like, I can't believe that guy's a head coach, or I knew he was going to be a head coach, or was it just, did he even have an idea at that point? Because I know that was Aranda GA, and like you said, pretty early in his career.
Yeah, my dad's not surprised at all that he's a head coach. Like you said, obviously a different way of coaching than what you think of when you think of a football coach, but it's proven to be successful, and it's awesome to see people do things their own way and see it work.
I did not know we were going to get Levi Norwood babysitter on his resume.
Yeah.
At all. I'm going to ask him about that when I see him. Your dad's at UCLA now, right?
Yes.
So now, where are you living?
I'm in Denver.
Or in Denver. Okay. Yeah, the Norwoods you guys are itinerant. You're kind of all over the place and that, but you've been there for a while, haven't you?
I've been here for about 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, I think the last time I saw you, you had said you were moving there or had moved there. Levi, what do you think about the Baylor team as they set up this year? Last year was a disappointing year. They had to kind of reboot the roster, so to speak, a little bit and clear things out, which is easier to do now that you have the transfer portal. But the way that, Dave Aranda had to kind of face some tough issues and say, okay, look, this is where I need the team to go in 2023.
Yep. Yeah, I think you said it. There's from now on the outside, looking at it and seeing the changes that have been made and the new guys that have come onto the roster, I think it looks promising this year to kind of pick back up where things were a couple years ago and continue growing things in the right direction.
Levi, I want to ask you about Kendall now being at TCU. Kendall Briles now joining Sonny Dykes. They obviously had a great year. Carlton Buckles is on that staff. Kaz Kazadi's over there. It's kind of like the old crew in so many ways. But as somebody who was around Kendall, played in that style of offense, what do you expect from TCU initially? And what do the receivers in particular have coming their way when it comes to being coached by Kendall Briles, and any changes you think that there may be compared to what they're sort of used to?
I mean, it's just such a fun offense to playing for Coach Briles and KB. And so it'll be, I expect to see a lot of explosiveness out of those guys, out of Coach Kaz and what he does in the weight room. And it's hard to root for TCU, but it's not hard to root for Coach Kaz and KB and Coach Buck. And so I'm excited to watch them, and whenever Baylor and TCU play, I'm obviously rooting for Baylor. But other than that, I'm always rooting for those guys.
Did Coach Kaz ever get onto you in particular?
He definitely did. Probably not as much as some other guys, but I don't know if there's anyone who got by unscathed.
No, I ran into it to Kelvin Palmer not too long ago. And
yep.
he told me that, the way that people feared and respected Kaz Kazadi was so crazy, and that everybody loved him but terrified of him, and that if he caught you for a second eating something he told you not to, your life was over.
Yeah, he caught you eating something. He caught you yawning. He caught you with the wrong socks on in the weight room. You had it coming, so you just knew better than that.
In terms of that offense and the receivers in particular, and I guess if you want to spread the knowledge elsewhere to other positions, but is it pretty simple to learn? Is it more complex than maybe given credit for? Like if you're JoJo Earl coming in or any of these guys who are first-year guys, is there much of a growth there, or is it pretty quickly that most people are able to kind of latch on and know what the deal is?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's easier to learn, I guess, than some offenses, but it's still such a change. There's still adjustments that you got to make, and then it's more, I feel like, thinking on the fly and being able to find those open spots in the defense is, instead of being told like this is exactly where you have to be, a little bit more freedom, and that's easier in some aspects, but for some players that may just need to be told exactly where to be, sometimes that's a challenge too.
What was the most fun part about the offense? The fact that you knew that you could score 50 points just like that, or what was it for you?
I think it was just knowing that everyone's getting the ball. Mm-hmm. I think I may have been like the third or fourth receiver my junior and senior year, but I was still having 30, 40 catches. And so that's definitely not a normal thing in most offenses. And so it was knowing I was getting the ball, knowing that everyone's going to score, made it so much fun.
Levi, just a question about the Big 12 and the way it has changed. And, I know you were not like a Texas-born and tried and true. Like, you were a coach's kid, so you moved around a bit. Yep. So it's not like you grew up like A&M in Texas is the biggest thing in the world, sort of. So you have a unique perspective in that regard. But can you speak to, how important was the whole playing Oklahoma and Texas thing from your point of view? And what are your thoughts on the fact that beyond this year, the league is going to be minus those teams? And just from a player's point of view, what do you think it's going to be like to face some new teams like the BYUs, the Houstons of the world?
It'll be interesting. I think my perspective, like you said, is a little different because was used to moving around. And so I would be excited to be playing different schools and getting outside of Texas and Oklahoma to go play. And so going to play in cold environments. And I remember my freshman year coming up here to Colorado and playing and just being such a different type of Big 12 environment. It'll be cool to see that change in the conference. But at the same time, those two schools are a big part of what the conference has been for a long time. But it'd be cool to see the change in it.
Levi, before we let you go, one more time, give us the website and the information on the event next week.
Yeah, so it's pledgeit.org/BUFB-Lift23. And would love to have any support. Go on there and pledge or make a flat donation and help us raise awareness for people impacted by rare diseases, help us fund rare disease research. There's over 10,000 rare diseases, and 95% of them do not have an FDA-approved treatment or cure. And so we're trying to make a difference there. We are making differences there, but need as much help as possible to continue doing that.
Levi Norwood, one of my favorite former Baylor players of all time. Levi, keep being you, man. Having that big heart and helping people like you always did. Always great to talk to you. And please come and see us the next time you're in town for a game.
Yep, I will for sure. I'll be there this fall.
That's Levi Norwood, former Baylor wide receiver, and I tweeted out that information, the website at Paul Catalina on my Twitter. If you want to go and donate to it, it's really, really great cause. Levi, photography, like one of those